Welcome to the Impactful Engineer Project. I'm Steve Maxey, and with my co-host and brother Jake, we are here to bring you guidance, fresh ideas, and the tools to help you become an impactful engineer.
Welcome to the Impactful Engineer. Our mission is to help you grow your engineering career and inspire you to pursue your full potential as not only an engineering professional, but as a member of your greater community. I'm Jake Maxey. I'm a professional electrical engineer for the MEP firm Hallam ICS. I'm with my brother Steve Maxey. He's a mechanical engineering manager and new product development for Klein Tools. What's up, dude?
Hello, Jacob. Long time no talk.
Yeah, sure. We just get together every once in a while and do this podcast thing.
Yeah. Just shooting the shit and hanging out.
Dude, a lot's been going on lately.
Yeah.
Holy cow, our lives are packed.
Yeah, I know. It is very interesting sometimes. Very dynamic too. A lot of different things.
Yes.
Yeah. But today, I got to go to the movies with the family.
Sweet.
Yep. I saw the epic adventure of Moana 2.
Like, how sequels are always not as great. I mean, was it good?
It was, I'm not saying it was an Emmy award-winning movie of any kind, but I thought it was decent for what it is. It is a good runner-up for the original.
Nice. All the same voices,
main characters. Yeah. And they added a couple more, and I won't ruin anything for those listeners that are diehard Moana fans, but the old geezer Gardner dude was pretty funny.
Nice.
Yeah. So
kind of like you.
Yeah.
Kind of old crotchety.
Yeah. Old decrepit asshole who complains about everything. Yeah. That's me.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Did he have hair?
I don't remember. It wasn't important.
It normally isn't. Nope.
No.
All right. Well, good for you, man. Good family time.
Yeah. It's always good.
I like sitting in the theater and packing my face with popcorn and just vegging out, It's
nice. I didn't do that.
Of course, you don't do the popcorn. You're probably gnawing on some protein of some kind.
No, dude, I actually didn't have any snacks at all. I just had a water bottle. And then my oldest daughter was just chilling on my lap because, parts of the movie were scary. She's 6, so.
Yeah, so scary and 6 years old. That's relative.
Yeah. I will say
go see the new
intense.
horror. Go see the new horror film Moana 2.
Yeah, where everyone gets eaten alive. Oh my gosh!
Quiet yourself. Gosh, freaking backseat drivers, dude.
I know.
All right, housekeeping. What do we do? What do we do here, Steve? What we already told you kind of what it's about, what it's for. But we have 3 episode types. Steve and I will get on, say things to you. Hopefully you go, I'll try one of those things. The other one is one of us will get on, do the same thing, and we hope for the same result. But it might be something that's a little more structured or, I guess...
Concise.
There you go. And then 3, sometimes we bring on a guest whenever we feel like it. And usually they know a lot.
More than us.
And about some pretty good shit. And you should probably listen to them. So that's the 3rd type of episode. We'll bring on a guest. What else is there? We have an email?
Yes, we do have an email. That's questions with an S at impactfulengineer.com. If you have anything you want to ask us, you want to learn something that we haven't talked about yet on the show, send us an email and ask us. You could also reach out LinkedIn under either of our names. We do have an Impactful Engineer LinkedIn page, but it's really more of a placeholder at this point. We are more active on our personal profiles. So go ahead and reach out to us and ask a question. And then most importantly, we do not advertise this show beyond just an occasional post here and there on LinkedIn. So what we really rely on is people sharing the show. If you know an engineer or are an engineer and you find value or you think someone else will find value in anything that we're saying, please share the show. Let them know it's fantastic or that it sucks. It doesn't matter to us as long as you're sharing. So we ask you to share so we can grow organically and reach all the engineers that we hope to impact.
And you can always, if putting your reputation on the line is important to you, which it should be, and it might be holding you back from sharing the show, you could always just go neutral. You can always just go like, "Hey, came across this, listened to it.
Let me know
Let me
what
know
you
what
think.
you think. Tell me what your opinion is of this show. Don't say anything about, hey, this is good. You should listen to this. Don't put your reputation on the line. Just like send the show, forward it to whoever, and be like, hey, look, I don't know if you've heard about this podcasting thing. Sometimes, they can be good. Let me know what you think about this one. Just trying to help people to get over that hump.
Yeah.
I imagine sharing is going to be like, hey, if I share this, then I think it's good. And if you don't think it's good, then we have some sort of conflict.
Yeah.
Just share it and be like, hey, review this for me. Maybe something like that. All right.
Yeah.
Getting into the episode. Man, what are we here to talk about today? Yeah, FaceTime. FaceTime in the company. So, in your career, would it be beneficial or not be beneficial for you to spend more time in person with other people in your company? Right? And before, way back in like the 90s, in the 2000s, I guess.
Age of the dinosaurs.
Age of the dinosaurs, it was super important that you be in person, present, getting FaceTime. It's a big part of your career, actually. Big necessary part. And then recently, lots has changed, and that's awesome. I love change personally. Hybrid work schedules, fully remote. And to be clear, like there was fully remote positions before. It's just way more prominent now. But I would like to discuss with you, Steve, the importance of pushing as hard as you can to be in person, to show up. I have my own opinions on this, but I'd like to start with yours. How important is it? What do you want to talk about today with FaceTime?
Yeah. Well, first off, I see how you turn the tables on me
Of
from
course.
our last recording. I did this to you, so that's fantastic. But yeah, even with remote or hybrid schedules, I think it is critically important to get that FaceTime. Now, my perspective on it is building relationships across your organization as well as customers is also important, but I'm going to focus more on your own organization. And I mean, it really just boils down to maintaining a great perspective of who you are, right? So if you are an engineer that is sitting in a cubicle or at home and no one ever sees your face, you don't even have your picture on your not your LinkedIn, your Teams profile, right? You're just, SM, right? Your initials, and that's it. And you never put your camera on or anything. You're just a complete recluse, except for they hear your voice once in a while, but mostly emails. No, you're basically going to be a number to them or just a name. You're not going to be a person who has character, who has anything beyond to what the results are that you're producing, and that's it. There's not going to be any emotional attachment at all. And I think more importantly is when you want to move up in your career, the conversations are going to be had by leaders, like your leadership, with other leaders in the company. And they're going to be like, hey, what do you think of Jake? And if you are the one who's never going around talking to people, they're going to be like, I don't know who that is. And so they're going to take that as like, hey, Jake doesn't really have much of an impact on the organization beyond what I see. And you're going to be pretty stagnant at that point. Now, if Jake is running around the office all the time and helping people out, engaging with people, having great conversations or asking lots of questions, learning from other people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then when that leader asks other leaders, they're going to be like, oh yeah, Rebecca over here says that Jake is always working really hard and super pleasant and, is always there when she needs him, et cetera, et cetera. And then your leader is going to be like, oh, well, great. He's providing a ton of value. And so that conversation is going to lead into, okay, how can we reward that value that he's bringing to the organization? So that's kind of my perspective is that to build awareness of how awesome you are, you need to have that FaceTime within your organization. And it could be anyone from the janitor to the president, if you have the access. You need to be intentional and present in conversation with everyone in the organization that you possibly can without detracting from you getting results in your position, if that makes sense.
Sure. Love it. Don't let the lack of FaceTime get you like a bad review or no review.
Yeah.
If one of those leaders says, well, I don't ever really have a problem, kind of just does their thing, that's a neutral comment, right?
Yep.
That's not standing out like at all. Which neutral comments come from no source or reference point to what you've actually done besides just doing the job description. Oh, I never have an issue with them, so I guess that's good. But I guess I don't have issues with most people. I mean, we did with Johnson, but he's gone. So you want to have that glowing review, right? Of course. And if you don't show people who you are by getting that FaceTime and providing that additional context behind what you say and do and create, right? No one's going to know of a reference point for which to judge their response to what do you think about this person, you know? And even if, let's say, like you were really outgoing and had a lot of FaceTime and something negative happened, but then you turned it around and showed extreme growth and adaptability, and you came out great. That's really hard to do for someone. But if it was visible the whole time, then the story is, oh man, he's shown a really good ability to adapt and to overcome his weaknesses and change, right? And that's big. So the level of ability to take on new information and actually change your behavior and produce a different result, that's a big deal. You got to do that all the time in upper management. So that would be like a glowing review, but if it was just behind the scenes and you did all this growing and no one really knew, because all you're doing is producing the same reviewable result, but how you get there is just as important, and how you changed is just.
Hey, my fellow impactful engineers, if there's one thing that you could do to help out this community, it's to keep listening to the podcast, but also if you found value in it, to share it with one person, give us a 5-star review, or even leave a text review. It'll only take a few seconds of your time. Find that person that you think could enjoy some of this or learn from it, and pass on the good word. Now back to the show.
Yeah. And you don't have to be an extrovert to be able to go around and have good conversations with people outside of your direct team. You can go to HR and just sit down with them, or just pop in their office one-on-one. Introverts can have one-on-one conversations, with the very, very little anxiety, right? You can go in there and talk, have a good one-on-one conversation, be pleasant. You can ask, hey, do you need anything from me, or just talk about whatever their interests are, etc. Just building up a rapport with that person. You don't have to be a social butterfly and be the center of attention in a room full of 50 people. You can, have those interactions one by one, throughout the year. You don't have to do it all at once and with a mass amount of people. So you can be an introvert and still be able to execute on this. Yes, it might take a little bit more of a nudge to, step into someone's office or stop someone in the hallway to have a conversation. But I think that's a very low barrier of entry, even for an introvert.
Yeah, you can always make it just a actual scheduled thing.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think that's actually better, because being able to sit down to do something purposeful, and then with one-on-one, and then weaving in some conversation in there in that setting, I think is actually really how you get it done, because you got one-on-one time. You got all the time to provide context, discuss things. Like in a group setting, there's a dynamic about how much time you give, how much you're going to listen, how much you're going to include others, and you got to pass the baton. And I think one-to-many FaceTime is great. People can get to know you that way, but I see one-on-one conversations and actually spending time and investing time in other people as the trenches work, hard work way of building that reputation and forward-facing visibility, like from the ground up. And if there's a bunch of people in your company, get started. Make those things, force that to be part of your schedule too. And you can do that through project related work. You can do that through, hey, I just need some advice. You can do it through the mentorship lens. You can do it through, I need to learn a little bit more about what you do and your service line, because I think that's going to help the company. You can do it through many different, avenues.
Yeah.
I think the one-on-one time is actually the best place to be.
Yeah. I really like that. I mean, and everyone in the organization is there to be a part of accomplishing the same mission, right? So you have a reason to talk to everyone in that company. There's going to be a reason. You just have to find what that reason is. If you are a product design engineer and there's someone in sourcing, normally you're like, oh, I don't really deal with sourcing stuff. That's not really in my realm right here. But you could go, hey, I need to know where this material is coming from. Can we sit down and just kind of talk about how you're finding the materials that are coming into the plant, and we can just talk about that. And the person who's doing the sourcing was like, yeah, sure. We can sit down for 15 minutes, and you go in and you have a conversation, and then you can tie in some other things about, and build a rapport on a personal basis, but also understanding how they impact the organization can help you help them in terms of, if they know what material that I need for the projects I'm working on, they can plan ahead and have that, on site when it's needed. So you can have a more dynamic conversation over time, and they will be an ally in the organization to help your projects be more successful. So I mean, there's and vice versa, right? They're going to rely on you to make their job easier as well. So every single person in the organization is going to be able to build a mutually beneficial relationship. So just get out there and start talking to people.
Absolutely. And this kind of ties into this concept that like that engineer could say one thing about, say they have something to contribute to you as the manager, Steve. I was talking to sourcing a couple weeks ago, and they'd mentioned this. I think this ties into this project and what materials we're going to choose. There might be something here. It'd be great if you could go talk to sourcing as the manager of this project, see if there's something there. If there's something we need to tweak because of the thing that we were talking about a couple weeks ago, you let me know. I'm going to integrate that into the product design. If not, we're just going to be cruising like normal. But I just wanted to, give you a little heads up there. Just there might be something there. That shows that you're a big picture thinker, right? It also shows that you've been talking and getting FaceTime with sourcing, and then it gives you a chance to perhaps have a discussion that you otherwise wouldn't have had because you weren't thinking about sourcing at that time. And so it like two people can say the exact same thing. One of your product engineers says, make sure the sourcing's good. Like, make sure sourcing doesn't affect our project. And they've never talked about sourcing, has never seen or had a conversation with them. And that other person that has all that additional context says the same thing. There's different weights there, right? I know that's a little nuanced position, but the more you have FaceTime with an expanded audience at work, like the more context people have behind what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it's also going to impact the decisions you make on your project. Right. So if you know that a certain material is very hard to find, are you going to design your product to use that material? No. Right. Because you have to make 10 million of the stupid things, and there's not enough material in the country to do that in the next 6 months. So maybe I should select a different material. And that makes the sourcing manager's job a lot easier. And now you're thinking ahead and making your project more streamlined, and more efficient.
And where did that come from? Oh, it was because Steve mentioned it in a project because we'd actually talked about those obstacles at the last project. He just scheduled it out of nowhere, and I figured I would talk to him about it. And then that's their review. When the person asks, "What about Steve? Tell me about Steve. We're thinking about this. We have a person that needs to move up into this position. Tell me about Steve." That becomes a highlight.
Yes.
Right. So I think they get it. I think you guys get it. But it's just super important. That's why we're going to make the podcast about it. That's why we're actually taking time out of our days to record these things, because we think it's going to have an actual big impact on your career and enhance your ability to do your job and enjoy it and have a great career. So take this to heart. Share this with somebody that you think could do a little more to have a little more FaceTime.
Yeah.
It helps in every avenue of your career.
So I know you wanted to talk about FaceTime with customers and on that side of things.
Yeah, that's super important too. Customers decide your fate sometimes. Customers decide if they want to keep you. Customers decide if your services are worth the cost they incur by using you. Customers want to decide whether you're better fit for them over your competitor, right? And customers are also, hint, hint, human beings. They also formulate opinions about people, right? And while we talk a lot about removing emotion from logical decision making, emotions generate perceptions. Perceptions influence logical decision making through past tangible results and experience. So while when you're ultimately making a decision, you should try to remove any of your emotion from it. Emotions are an avenue in which to gain positive perception. So which interaction involves more emotion? An email, making a statement or a project update, or being in person on the customer's site, talking to them about their recent hurdles, yes, telling them the update on the project, but then also offering to help in many other ways, offering context behind how you want to do what you can to improve the customer service side of your business, to help them in any way that you possibly can to make this project easier for them, et cetera, et cetera. All, bring up all these conversations. It allows more time to bring in that additional context behind recent decision making, but also to follow up on if you can help them in any other way. And that's when, as a human being, you can have certain expressions on your face, deliver the words a certain way, use tonality, raise your voice, lower your voice, be quiet,
Firm
with
handshakes.
your voice, a firm handshake, accentuate, like all the stuff you miss in an email, and perhaps all the stuff you miss in a Zoom call as well. Because I don't know about you guys, but when I get on a Zoom call, I mean, I'm better now, but usually it's like, oh, it just seems robotic. It seems like I'm not feeding off of the vibe of the other person in the room, especially if it's just an initial in a little circle in a little box in the gallery, and it lights up when they say something. Like that's not giving me much, I don't know what your eyes are doing. I don't know if your eyebrows are raised or if your head's tilted when you're asking the question. All I hear is just the words.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much that is missed. You're missing huge opportunities to create a good memory in your customer's mind. I'll get off the box there.
You're good. I actually want to I forgot. I think it was Hormozy who said this, right? Where the negative is a much better tool to learn from, right? And so instead of figuring out what you need to do, you talk about what you don't want to do, and then that brings it home, right? That concept,
the inverted thinking kind of.
Yeah, exactly. So with that in mind, because we want everyone here to succeed, think of it the inverted way. If you piss off a customer, if you make it to the point where they just refuse to work with you, now what's going to happen? They're going to talk to whoever you report to, or above that, maybe the owner of the customer company is going to talk to the owner of your company, because they're most likely friends. And they're like, hey, I don't want to work with Jake ever again. Like, period. What do you think is going to happen in that scenario? Are you thinking to be like, oh, Jake's so great, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, well, let's see. This customer has been a repeat customer for the last 30 years, and they usually bring in $30 million a year in revenue. See you later, Jake. So.
Or in the least, no more customer facing roles for you.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to just sit in the role that you're in and continue to do good work on designing this one thing, because you do good work. We'll just keep you behind the scenes. You'll do this one job. Yeah. And if you want to raise, sorry, you're going to have to go somewhere else.
You're going to be severely career limited.
Yep. I've seen that before with a real example from one of the companies I was in.
So have I. That's why I wanted to bring it up, because it's a very real thing.
It is.
So use that concept to do the exact opposite. Make such a fantastic impression on your customers, whether it's a retail customer who's buying product, or it's a customer who is a reoccurring, high revenue customer for your MEP firm. It doesn't matter. But whatever customer you engage with, go above and beyond to make sure that they think that you are the bee's knees. You are the best person to ever work with in the capacity that you work with them.
And when that phone call inevitably happens, there is no way that you're not getting some kudos.
Yes.
There's no way that they're going to say anything other than, you know what, we've been in business together a long time, and I'm glad to see that the caliber of people you bring in is being proactive in continuing that legacy.
Yes.